Hello, hello, hello to the Black Women in Media fam. I am Coriel, and I am so excited to have been chosen to be one of your presenters for this amazing conference. You all have some amazing speakers and honorees and panelists lined up. And so I'm just honored to be among some of the women that were selected to be a part of this amazing experience. So today we are going to be talking about out of the box marketing ideas and strategies specifically for melanated brands. And before we get into my presentation, I definitely wanted to just do a quick introduction because I think that it's so important for you to know who you are hearing from. So again, I am Coriel. I am a serial entrepreneur, a two-time author, and an educator. And I managed to turn that $32,000 teaching salary into multiple six-figure brands. Most recently, I have retired from the world of empowerment so that I could focus on teaching Black women how to get paid. And I have the honor of doing that through Work University, which is an online trade school created by a Black woman for Black women all around the world who want to stop living paycheck to paycheck and start living the life of their dreams. At the end of my masterclass, I'm going to give you some information on how we can stay connected and how you can take advantage of some free resources that I've created just for my working women. But without further ado, let's get started. So again, today we're talking about out of the box marketing specifically for melanated brands. Now, I want you to know that regardless of where you are on your journey of entrepreneurship, whether you are just getting started, you are growing your business, or you're at that point where you want to automate and scale, hopefully something that I share with you today will be helpful regardless of where you are on your journey. And again, I'll share with you my contact information and how we can stay connected at the end in case you do have any questions about any of the information presented today. In today's masterclass, we'll cover building from a solid brand. We'll go over some ordinary marketing strategies. And then, of course, we will get into some out of the box marketing. So our strategy in really being able to think outside the box and create some irresistible and exciting marketing plans for your audience. Number one would be to identify your audience, okay? In order for you to be successful, it's going to be so important for you to understand who you want to present your products and your services and your programs to. So you want to make sure before you even spend $1 on marketing that you pinpoint your ideal client for each offer that you have. And sometimes your client changes a little bit depending on the offer that you want to present. So you definitely want to make sure you identify your audience. After you've spent the time identifying your audience, then you're going to start looking for ways to attract that audience. And that's when you start to actually put those marketing strategies in place. Step 3 would be building your authority. How are you going to build trust with your audience? How are you going to let your audience know the experience and the expertise that you have that makes you the authority in your specific industry or within your space? So the strategy again is identifying the audience, attracting the audience, building authority, and then increasing your sales. You want to make sure that you are simplifying the buying process with a user-friendly system for sales, as well as a follow-up strategy. So these are some of the strategies that I use whenever I am working with my Work University students, and we are focusing on how they can build a brand and how they can incorporate some creative marketing strategies to actually make sales within that brand. Regardless of the industry you're in, regardless of the product or the service that you offer to your audience, we know that in business, our goal is to make money. There has to be some profit in order for you to maintain and sustain yourself as a business. If you are not making money, then that's just a pretty expensive hobby that you have. But the key to being able to make money in any industry is having a solid and strategic marketing plan in place. So, of course, the overall goal with today's training is how can you create a very strategic and specific marketing strategy that's going to work as you build your brand. In order to build your brand from a solid foundation, you want to be very aware of what you are bringing to the table. And so, one question that I want you to ask yourself, and if you have a notebook, hopefully you do, you can jot down this term: UVP. What is your UVP? In order to understand what you bring to the table, you have to be very, very clear on your unique value proposition. So that's a really fancy term. What I like to say is your secret sauce. What is that thing that nobody else under the sun, regardless of their level of experience or expertise, regardless of their methodology, regardless of their marketing plan, regardless of their business budget, nobody else outside of you can do this thing the way you do it? What is that thing that differentiates you from everyone else? That's your secret sauce. That's your UVP, your unique value proposition. That is what you want to be able to identify, communicate, and leverage as you are creating a marketing strategy. What are you bringing to the market that is new, different, or solves a problem in a unique way? Okay. Do you offer a more affordable option? Do you do a job in less time than the average person? So maybe you get it done quicker. So is it more affordable? Is it that you do it quicker? Do you service a niche market, a market that has been forgotten about, a market that is kind of untapped? The very first brand that I created back in 2012 that kind of put me on the map, that landed me in, with the Tom Joyner Morning Show and got me the major media, all across the board, from Jet Magazine to Essence Magazine to rolling out Huffington Post. All of these major outlets were interested in my brand, the Single Wives Club, because my secret sauce was serving a niche market that was untapped. Back in 2012, there was nobody out there really putting together programs and resources specifically for single women who were preparing to become wives. It was unheard of. It was unthought of. Nobody was thinking about the struggles that single women had. So because I was doing something new, because I was catering to a market that otherwise is typically forgotten about, I began to get, notoriety and media attention from all across the globe because I understood my UVP. I understood my secret sauce and what I was bringing to the table that nobody else had been thinking about. So sometimes you're doing something more affordable. Sometimes you're doing something quicker. Sometimes you're serving an audience that has been otherwise forgotten about. Or sometimes you created something that is literally like your invention, your creation. You cannot get this thing anywhere else outside of you. And that would be a proprietary product, something that you invented or came up with or, literally thought of, and only you are doing it. Before you can even start thinking about serving your audience, you want to know what is it that you can offer that they're not getting from anywhere else. All of these aspects can be used in marketing yourself differently from your competition. Okay. Now, I know, we like to think that we're the only one doing it the way that we're doing it. But as an entrepreneur, and when you really want to build your business from a solid foundation, you want to know what else is out there. And sometimes just by doing your research and due diligence to see what else is out there, you can actually figure out how you can fill in the gaps. What are all of those other people missing out on that you can make up for? So again, in order to build your brand from a solid foundation and be able to create an out-of-the-box marketing strategy, you want to understand your unique value proposition, aka your secret sauce. So in order to build from a solid brand, because again, we want to have a solid brand in place before we go out there and start spending money or time or energy on our marketing. Your brand, just to kind of define it for you for the sake of this training, is the image that you portray and your audience's perception of you. So a quick brand identity checklist. And again, if you have a notebook, you can just take a screenshot or you can jot down this checklist. But the goal with your brand, the overall goal is for you to connect with the emotions of your audience. And so in order for you to do that effectively, you want to understand your messaging. Again, before you put together a marketing plan, before you get your marketing budget together, you want to understand what is the message that you want to convey. What is the very specific problem that your business solves for your specific audience? So what's your messaging? What's your brand proposition? Again, your UVP. How are you different from everyone else? So your message is understanding what problem you solve. Your brand proposition is more so how do you solve it in a way that they have to come to you to experience it. They can only experience your problem solving in this one way. So what's your brand proposition? We all know about the logo. That's the fun part, how you bring your personality to your people. What's that mark, or, what's that phrase that people will see and automatically think of you? It conveys the message that your brand represents. The branded fonts and the colors help you to convey your look and your feel of your brand. And then, of course, your tagline. That's the way that you can clarify the value that you provide. So with the Single Wives Club, our message, I'm going to use that as an example throughout. Again, our unique value proposition was that we were catering to an audience. And I keep saying were because the Single Wives Club no longer exists. I sold it back in 2017. So if you're like, hey, that sounds pretty cool, and you go looking for it, that's why you can't find it. Okay. But with the Single Wives Club, the messaging was all about helping single women attract the love of their lives by becoming who they needed to become to be a match to their ideal mate. Okay, the tagline for the Single Wives Club was single women preparing to become wives. Pretty cut and dry, pretty easy to understand, and it's something that will stick out to you and stand out amongst every other brand or organization or program that was out there. Okay, so in order to build from a solid brand, you want to understand your messaging. You want to understand how you are different from everyone else. You want to make sure that you are connecting with the emotions of your audience through your messaging and through your aesthetics. After all, the best branding in the entire world means nothing if you don't know your audience. So again, if we scroll back and review the strategy, we have to identify and be able to attract our audience before we can market to them. Okay. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of new business owners make is creating a product or a program, but not really putting the time and the effort into understanding who is the perfect fit for this product or service. So you want to make sure before you spend a lot of time and any money on marketing your product or your programs, you want to understand who your audience is. So for the Single Wives Club, my audience was single Black millennial women. I was very clear on who I was for, what audience I wanted to serve, and how I could best serve them in a way that otherwise they were not being served. So I was very, very clear on that. And that is why I was able to attract the right people who could really benefit from our programs. As you are working to build your brand and attract your audience, your goal should be to make your audience love you. And one of the ways that you can do this is by under-promising and over-delivering. So as you see, there's a book cover here called Monster Loyalty. It's specifically around the strategy that Lady Gaga used to turn her followers into fanatics. So that is a suggested read if you really want to understand how to build and grow and connect with your audience which of course is the foundation of creating a solid brand. And remember, although we're here to talk about out of the box marketing strategies, you want to be very clear on who you are actually marketing your business to. Okay, so we got to start from a solid foundation before we start putting money and energy into marketing. So some of the ways that you can under promise and over deliver and turn your followers and your audience into fanatics of your brand. Handwritten notes still go a very long way. Customer of the month incentives. What I used to do with the Single Wives Club, we had an online shop. And so every couple of months, I would go in and see who had, either spent the most money in the shop or placed the most orders in the shop, and just send them a freebie, send them a free gift in the mail. And that worked wonders, regardless of whether it was a bookmark or a t-shirt. The dollar amount or the value is not really what mattered. Showing them that you appreciated them, you appreciated their support, you appreciated their business. That's what really mattered. And that's what will really help you to create that lifelong relationship. Because I was so focused on not just starting a business, not just making a sale, but really building a brand, even though I no longer have the Single Wives Club, my audience came with me as I created Work, Pray, Slay, as I started Work University, as I started my podcast. Regardless of what I'm selling or what program I've created, it's the people that really matter. And because I spent the time building my brand and creating those relationships, those people are still very loyal, regardless of whether I'm selling a t-shirt, writing a book, launching a podcast, hosting an event. The same people have been a part of my community since 2012 because I really put in the time and I put the attention on understanding my audience, getting to know my audience, and really turning them from just followers into fanatics of me. They bought into me. And these are some of the ways that I did that. Offering extra advice. So one thing that I used to do, it was called Text Code Tuesday, where how many people do you know allows you to send them a text message and they ask them a question and they'll really reply back with feedback, strategies, support, tips, tricks. This was something that I would do randomly for my audience, just as a way to show them that I'm not here to just sell you something. I really want to see you succeed. So any way that you are able to just go that extra mile and go above and beyond, do the things that other people are not willing to do or haven't thought about doing, that's how you are really going to be able to build a brand with loyal people. Birthday coupons, of course. Loyalty and referral programs, because again, the goal is to build a brand, not just start a business. Okay. So for all of my Melanated brand owners out there, I really want for you to think, what are some of the things that you can do for your audience that nobody else is thinking about doing? How can you slide in and fill in those gaps where other people are missing out? All right, now for the fun stuff. Okay, so we are talking again about out of the box marketing for melanated brands. To define marketing for today's training, it's the way that you introduce yourself and promote your product to potential customers. So what I mean by that is, how are people actually going to find out about you? You might have the best product in the world. You might have a life-changing program, but if nobody knows about you, you're not going to make any money. And if you're not making any money, you don't really have a business. You just have an expensive hobby. And we are not here to start expensive hobbies. We are here to build brands that are going to be our legacy brands that can literally change someone's life because we decided to take a chance, because we decided to press go. Okay, so how are you going to introduce yourself and promote your product to potential customers? That's all that marketing is getting yourself in front of potential customers. But again, remember, we talked about the fact that step one is understanding your audience. Okay, you got to understand who your audience is before you can get in front of them. Otherwise, if you don't know who you are specifically serving, you will spend a lot of time and waste a lot of money trying to serve everyone. Okay. Everything is not for everybody. Everyone is not your customer. And I'm willing to bet that some of you have wasted some money thinking that your product or service is for everybody, all women. My product is for all Black women. Well, Black women are multifaceted. Are we talking about the 21-year-old Black woman? Are we talking about the 35-year-old Black woman? Are we talking about the 50-year-old Black woman? Based on some more demographics, those Black women are very different, whether you're talking about a clothing brand or a coaching program. 18-year-old, 21-year-old Black woman does not need the same things, and she's not wearing the same clothes as the 35. Well, hopefully she's not, as the 35-year-old Black woman. Okay. So if I ask you who your audience is and you just say Black women, you're going to end up wasting a lot of time and a lot of money trying to serve all Black women. Okay. I hope we understand each other with that one. Okay. So let's get into looking at some ordinary marketing strategies. One of the most basic things that you are probably doing in your business is curating social media posts. As a new business owner, typically, and I work with a lot of brand new business owners and people who are just getting their ideas together, figuring out how to turn those ideas into income inside of Work University. And the very first thing that they do is go to Instagram. Okay. Why? Well, because we're used to using Instagram as consumers anyway. So I'm not judging you. Let me just put that disclaimer out there. I'm not judging you. I'm saying this with love, but that's probably the first step that most of us take. Okay. I came up with this product idea. Let me go create an Instagram account. Let me start posting on Instagram. That is ordinary marketing. We know that every business, the majority of businesses, have an Instagram page and they're creating social media posts. That's ordinary. Okay. There's nothing out of the box about posting your flyer on Instagram or putting up a post on Facebook. Email newsletters, ordinary. How many email newsletters do you get on a monthly basis? How many we're probably on hundreds of email lists. I get at least 100 emails every single day. You know, between all of my email accounts, I get at least 100 emails every single day. That's ordinary. The fact that I get 100 means that there's nothing unique about these announcement type email newsletters that I'm getting. Local events and pop-ups. For most product-based businesses, that's a part of your marketing strategy. Going to local events, getting vendor tables at pop-up shops. Those are ordinary ways to market your business. Now, what you do at that vendor table or what you do at that pop-up shop might be unique. It might be out of the box, but just attending and getting a table at those events, that's pretty ordinary. In-hand flyers and business cards, as ordinary as it gets. Okay. When I started the Single Wives Club back in 2012, Instagram did not exist. I literally had to be my own street team. I was going to every mall in the city of Atlanta, passing out flyers for my events. Y'all remember when you would come outside, you know, of the mall or come outside of the club and you would have 5 or 6 flyers on your windshield? I was one of those people out passing out the flyers. Thank God that is not how we have to do things anymore. Okay. We no longer have to rely on in-hand flyers to get in front of our potential customers. So these are just some ordinary marketing strategies that most businesses have in place. Okay. Some out of the box marketing strategies, and we're going to go through what each of these may look like for you, but influencer and affiliate marketing. Although this is not necessarily the most unique, like you're not going to be the only one doing influencer and affiliate marketing, but the way that you can go about leveraging the audiences and the influence of a blogger or a local leader in your community or a podcast host, the way that you can create a relationship and leverage their audience can be an out of the box marketing strategy. Now, I know that I kind of threw some shade on the email newsletters, and I'm not at all saying that email marketing is, a thing of the past. I highly, highly recommend that every business, regardless of what you're selling, whether you are a local business or a global business, I recommend that you get an email list because it's much more lucrative than the money that you're going to make focusing on social media. What I do encourage you to do is come up with some unique and irresistible offers that you can share via email. How are you actually going to get people to open up your email when they're receiving 100 of them in a day? So what can you do to really differentiate yourself from everything else that they're receiving throughout the day? SMS marketing is probably like a step above as far as like advanced business owners. SMS marketing is it's like the new wave, okay? And what that is text message marketing. So how many times have you received a text message that says, hey, we got a flash sale going on, save 30% by clicking this link? Or, hey, we just released this brand new collection. We wanted you to be the first to know you can save by, doing XYZ. These are the ways that you are able to actually build your relationship and really offer your audience something different by providing them with something unique that everybody else is not doing, okay? Interactive challenges have been super beneficial for me in all of my businesses. From back in the day when, the Single Wives Club was popping on Instagram and we had all these monthly Instagram challenges we would do, to now, fast forward 8 years later, I'm still doing interactive challenges because it's a way to engage with your audience in a fun and exciting way that has a specific objective. So usually these challenges are going to be centered around a specific goal that your audience shares. So if you are in the natural hair space, you could create an interactive challenge around, there's right now like that 5 look challenge on Instagram where Black women have been posting themselves with 5 different hairstyles. You can create your own challenge that showcases the uniqueness and versatility of Black women because your brand serves Black women. If you are in the fitness space, you can create an interactive challenge that engages your audience in a unique way with the objective of losing inches or dropping a couple sizes or, increasing your energy or whatever is important to your specific audience. So interactive challenges are definitely an out of the box way to market to your ideal customer. And then of course, content marketing. Content marketing is going to be like, they say content is king, consistency is queen. That is really, really true. So being able to create content that tells the story of your brand and not just putting out a flyer that says, buy this, we got a new product, go to the website. Content marketing is the way for you to market your product through storytelling. So influencer and affiliate marketing, number one, you want to make sure the relationship is reciprocal. In order for it to be successful, it has to be reciprocal. What does that mean? That means you know what you're going to get out of it. Your goal is probably to gain followers, get more followers to your page, get more sales for your product, more signups for your program. But what's in it for the influencer or the affiliate? You want to make sure it's a mutually beneficial relationship. As someone who has been hired several times in the past as an influencer, if it's not something that's really beneficial for me, I'm not going to go as hard. Just to be honest, I'm probably not going to even agree to it if it's not something that can be mutually beneficial for me. I know that my audience is going to at least check you out if I give you the stamp of approval. If I say, XYZ brand is really amazing at what they do, they're at least going to come check you out. But what's in it for me to get me to really be excited about promoting you and pubbing you for my people? So you want to make sure the relationship is reciprocal. You want to get very specific about your goals. Again, I already mentioned the fact that sometimes your goal is around making more sales, but sometimes your goal is just around building up your audience. Sometimes you will have an influencer marketing your product when it's in pre-order phase or in pre-production phase where you're just trying to build a buzz. So your goal is not always XYZ dollars. Sometimes your goal is around different things, but whatever your goal is, you want to make sure you're super specific. I also recommend and encourage you to utilize your own network first. Start with the people who you know or the people who you are connected to in some way. Typically, especially for new business owners that haven't really made a name for themselves yet, don't really have a large audience, sometimes it's hard to get bigger names on board or, the bigger influencers that may have large audiences themselves. So you want to make sure you utilize your own network, the people who already know you and trust you and like you a little bit. Start there. And then step one in creating an influencer or affiliate relationship would be just to make a list. Make your dream list of potential partners, people whose audiences align with your customers. I cannot stress enough how important it is to really think about the quality of that influencer's audience and not just the quantity. You don't want to be so focused on the follower count that you end up creating a partnership with someone who is not going to get you in front of the right people. Okay, it's super important for you to really understand who your people are. Again, that's why we started with talking about understanding your audience, because in order for you to make it work with an influencer or affiliate, you want to make sure they're going to get you in front of the right people, people who will actually want what you have. Email and SMS marketing. These are some ways that you can market to your email subscribers or your text message subscribers by giving them irresistible things, messages that they're actually going to want to open up. Okay, emails that they're actually going to want to read. So you can provide insider information. You can do bonus freebies, a tripwire, which is a download or a sales offer that you put in place to see who's really serious. Because anybody can sign up for your email list. Anybody can sign up for your SMS list, but a tripwire trips them up to see, hey, are you interested in this low cost offer? This is how I'm going to gauge where to place you within my sales funnel. You can share inspirational stories, which is a really great way to connect with your audience. We talked about personalized thank you notes, flash sales, which are like exclusive to the people on your email list or on your SMS list, tutorials, exclusive invitations. You can share the tools that you love, the tools that you're using within your business. Again, if you're a hair care brand, you can share, the hacks, your how-tos, the different information that people are on Google or YouTube searching for. You can share that with them because they're a part of your list. And then live broadcast notifications to let them know that they can come watch you on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube with your live broadcast. When it comes to content marketing, there are definitely some best practices that you want to take into consideration. The first best practice would be practicing the 80-20 rule, okay? And the 80-20 rule simply states that 80% of your content is going to be of value. Well, 100% of your content should be of value, but 80% of your content, you are giving something. So again, you could be giving insider information. You could be sharing a freebie that you just thought would add value for them. You could be sharing even a flash sale, something exclusive that they are going to find valuable. Again, this is why you really want to have a clear understanding of who your audience is so that you can make sure that 80% that you are sharing with them, they are actually going to find valuable. It shouldn't just be things that you think are valuable. You should really be looking for things that your audience is going to love so that every time they get an email from you, they're looking forward to it. Every time you create a new blog post, they're running to your website to check it out because they understand the value that you're offering. So 80% of the time, the content that you create, the emails that you send, the posts that you publish on social media should be offering value. And then the other 20% of the time, you can sell actually promoting your products or your programs. Okay. So again, best practices for content marketing, you want to make sure you're following the 80-20 rule. I believe that every single piece of content should educate, inspire, or entertain your audience. Okay, write that down. Everything that you share should educate, inspire, or entertain your audience. And if you want to take it a step further, and when I say content marketing, I'm talking about the content that you create for social media. So what you share on Instagram, what you share on Facebook, what you share on Twitter, what you share on TikTok, what you share on Snapchat, what you write for your blog, what you publish for your podcast, what you share on YouTube, all of that is content. So it doesn't necessarily matter the platform that you're using to share. All of it is content, and you want to make sure that you are practicing the 80-20 rule, okay? 80% value, 20% promo. And regardless of where they follow you or consume your content, you want to make sure they are being educated, inspired, or entertained, okay? Depending on your brand, depending on your objective, depending on the product that you sell and the people that you serve, you can decide whether or not your brand is a little more serious. So it's all about education. Is it like an empowerment brand where it's all about inspiring your audience? Or is it, maybe you have a brand based on comedy and it's all about entertaining your audience? Or maybe you have a podcast that's all about entertaining, your audience through storytelling or something. You want to make sure everything that you create does one of those things. One key thing that I see a lot of new brands specifically making the mistake of doing is not including a call to action, okay? Almost I'm going to say the majority of your content, again, whether we're talking about a Facebook post, an Instagram post, a blog post, a YouTube video, your content should end with a call to action, okay? So if I'm watching you on YouTube, the call to action at the end of the video could be visit my website for a free download that's going to teach you XYZ. Or it could just be check the description box below to sign up for my email list. That's a simple call to action. Your call to action is literally just telling people what to do next. That's it. Okay. A call to action for your Instagram, once you have just inspired them, your call to action could be, if you're interested in learning more about how you could be my next success story. Let's say that this Instagram post was sharing a success story. Your call to action could be, if you want to be my next success story, DM the word success for more information on how I can help you. Super simple, right? Your call to action is literally just telling people what to do next. So now that you've engaged with this piece of content, here's where you should go next. This is what your next step should be. Basically, if you like this content that I just gave you, now you should do X, Y, and Z to get more of it. Okay. So you want to make sure you have a call to action inside of your captions, your emails, your blogs, your podcast episodes, your YouTube videos. You want, especially because these are free, this is all free content. So because they are getting your goods without paying, in order for you to get something in return, you want to make sure you tell them what to do next. So join me on my next podcast episode. We're going to discuss X, Y, and Z. Or if you're ending a podcast, you can tell them, if you enjoyed this show, make sure you go leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I just gave you this free tea. I gave you all of these gems for 45 minutes in this podcast episode. The least you could do is go leave me a review. That's me getting something out of you consuming this content for free. At the end of your blog, you can tell them, hey, if you enjoyed reading my story about how I lost 30 pounds in 30 days. I don't know if that's healthy, but that's just the example that came to my mind. If you enjoy reading about my story, click here to learn more about how you can do it too. And then that could be a sign up for your email list. Call to action. It's not so important what that call to action is, you want to make sure you are getting in the habit of giving a call to action on every single piece of content. That's how you can make sure your content is working for you. Okay. And then you also want to share repost worthy resources. You want to make sure that you are propping yourself up as the source and the solution. So, how many times throughout the day are you on Instagram sharing or DMing people's posts to your friends, to your homegirl, to your babe? I'm doing it all day long. Okay. All day long. Those people are not asking me to share this with a friend. They're just sharing something that I feel like somebody else that I know might be interested in. They're sharing something that either educated me, inspired me, or entertained me enough for me to share it with someone else. So you want to make sure the content that you are creating is actually worth someone else sharing it on their own. Your call to action should not be share this post with a friend. You should never tell people to share your Instagram post, because if it's good enough, if it's repost worthy, if it's share worthy, they're naturally going to do that anyway. A lot of my new followers, specifically on Instagram, come from people sharing my posts. People who have never heard of me before, people who have never been to one of my events, listened to my podcast, never came across me in life, but other people that they were already following share my content, and that's how they get introduced to me. I'm not asking those people to share it, but I'm following the 80-20 rule, making sure that I'm sharing valuable information, or thought-provoking information or inspirational quotes, and that's what continues to grow my following. So as you are creating content, you just want to make sure you are following some of these best practices. Now, here are some ideas for the types of content that you can create based on whether you have a product-based business or a service-based business. If you have a product-based business, your goal with the content you create is to show how your product helps. How is your shea butter changing the lives of little kids with eczema all around the world? Like, how is it doing that? How is your natural hair oil going to help me grow my edges back after I take these faux locks out? How is your product going to help me? That's what I want to be able to understand by consuming your content. If you are a service-based business, you want to focus on showing how or why you should be trusted. Because typically service-based businesses, you're spending time with someone, you're probably investing a little bit more. And so you have to work a little bit harder to build the trust if you want someone to pay $1,000 for your public relations services, $1,000 for your coaching program versus selling them a $20 t-shirt as a product-based business. So if you are providing a service, you want to make sure your focus is creating content that shows why you should be trusted. Okay. So for my product-based business owners, your content could be how-to guides, how to actually use the product. You can review other products that are similar to yours and compare. Talk about the competitors. What is different about you? What's unique about your product? You can share product stories. How did you end up creating this product? What's the backstory behind it? Tips and tricks for how to use your product, or how your product complements something else that already exists. Frequently asked questions, things that they were probably wondering. You can answer them. You can answer those questions within your content. Customer stories and testimonials are always, always, always going to be gold when you are marketing your product to new people who haven't tried it for themselves. If you're a service-based business, you can share current events that you might be hosting, whether they are live or virtual. Thought leadership. So how are you leading in your industry? How does your experience or your expertise set you apart from every other business coach or every other hairstylist or every other esthetician out there? What is it that you are doing in a unique way that no one else is doing? You can share your personal story, recommendations, case studies, life hacks, and again, testimonials. Testimonials, reviews, sharing receipts, that provides what is called social proof. And social proof is basically other people saying that your product does what you say that it does. You don't want to be the only one saying that your product is gold. You don't want to be the only one saying that your service is going to change their life. Show me whose life you've already changed. Show me how your product has already provided results for other people like me. Okay, so those are just some ideas for content marketing. Now, I know that I have breezed through this. So I hope that you were taking some good notes. I hope that you have some out of the box ideas that you can now go and utilize within your brand. It is my hope that you are going to be able to take this information and actually get in front of your ideal audience. I definitely want to make sure we are staying connected. So I want to invite you to not only follow me on Instagram at Coriel, it's just my first name, but I also created a super dope, if I do say so myself, free mobile app specifically for melanated women. It's called Work University. And if you hold your phone up to the screen, open up your camera and scan this QR code, you will be taken to the download page. If you follow me on Instagram at Coriel, you can also find the download link inside my bio. This app is available on iPhone as well as on Android. So regardless of the phone you have, you can take advantage of these resources. Inside of this free app, you are getting exclusive content. So there's classes and training. There's networking opportunities where you're able to network with other like-minded, like-spirited, business-minded Black women in your city or globally. There's a barter board inside of this app because I believe that barter is the new Black. We really, amongst all of us, we have enough resources that we should not have to go broke trying to build our business. We have enough resources amongst ourselves that we should be able to exchange services. So there's a barter board. There's a business directory. If you happen to be looking for a service provider, there's a to-do list where you can keep track of the work that needs to be done personally or professionally. You can listen to my podcast, Confessions of a Workaholic, through the app. There's some exclusive merchandise. There's a game that helps you to stay focused. There's also a free side hustle quiz that helps you figure out what kind of side hustle you could potentially start so that you can stop living paycheck to paycheck and start living the life of your dreams. If you're not able to scan the QR code, you can just search Work University inside of your app store and you can download it today. Last but not least, when you download the app, make sure you turn on your notifications because I often send out affirmations and words of encouragement to just help you keep going throughout your day. I really hope that this has been a helpful presentation for you. I hope that you are now in a better position to market your business to the people who really need what you have. Again, I am Coriel on all social networks at Coriel. You can find me at Coriel.com, and I would love to stay connected with you.